Dad perfect events. Perfect. That's what I told my daughter-in-law Crystal when she walked into my kitchen and announced that 25 members of her family were coming to spend Christmas at my house. I'm going on vacation. You all can handle the cooking and cleaning yourselves. Her face went white like she'd seen a ghost. But what she didn't know was that the real surprise was just beginning. My name is Carl Thompson. I'm 58 years old, and for the past 5 years, I've been treated like hired help in my own home. A home I worked 35 years at the steel plant to pay for. A home I built additions onto with my own hands after my wife Sarah passed away 8 years ago. It all started when my son Tyler married Crystal Martinez. From day one, she decided I was her personal servant. Carl, get me some coffee. Carl, clean this up. Carl, cook for my friends. And like an idiot, I did it. I thought that's how I kept peace in the family. But I was done being a doormat. That Tuesday in December, Crystal strutted into my kitchen. Without knocking, wearing some expensive red dress that Tyler probably paid for with money he didn't have. Her heels clicked on my ceramic tile like hammers on my last nerve. "Carl," she said in that tone she uses when she wants something, "I have wonderful news. My entire family is coming for Christmas. It's only 25 people. Only 25 people. Like I was some kind of catering service." She sat down at my kitchen table like she owned the place and started listing names like she was reading off a grocery list. My uncle Victor, my sister Whitney, my brother-in-law Mason, all their kids. Everyone's coming. It's going to be perfect. Then she looked right at me with that fake smile. "Of course, you'll handle everything. The food, the decorating, serving everyone. We'll need at least 3 turkeys and that chocolate pie you make." She was talking about my famous bourbon chocolate pie that takes 2 days to make properly, the one I used to make for Sarah's birthday. "We'll need the house decorated." "Perfectly for the photos," Crystal continued. "This is going to be amazing for my social media." That's when I'd had enough. Not anger, just a cold understanding that had been building for 5 years of being invisible in my own home, except when she needed something. I looked her straight in the eye. "Perfect," I said. "It'll be perfect because I won't be here." The quiet that followed was beautiful. Crystal blinked like she couldn't process what I'd said. Her mouth opened, but nothing came out. "What do you mean you won't be here?" she finally managed. "Exactly what I said. I'm going on vacation. You can cook, clean, and serve yourselves. I'm not your employee." The color drained from her face completely. "But, Carl, I already told everyone to come. It's all planned. You can't do this. It's my house," I said calmly. "I can do whatever I want." Those 4 words hit her like a truck. She jumped up from the chair, her heels clicking frantically. "This is ridiculous. Tyler won't allow this. Tyler can have whatever opinion he wants. The decision's made." What Crystal didn't know, what none of them knew, was that I'd been planning this for months, ever since I found something that changed everything. 3 months earlier, I was helping Tyler clean out his home office when I found a folder full of bank statements and legal documents. At first I thought it was work stuff, but Crystal's name kept appearing in transactions I didn't understand. That night, after they went to sleep, I went back and looked at everything carefully. What I found made my blood run cold. Crystal had been spending money they didn't have. A lot of money, credit cards in Tyler's name that he didn't know about. Personal loans using my house as collateral without my permission. Shopping sprees that added up to over $50,000 in debt. But that wasn't the worst part. I also found emails where Crystal talked with her friends about how to manage Tyler so he wouldn't find out about her spending, how to keep him distracted while she kept shopping. And the worst one, a message where she planned to convince Tyler to sell my house to invest in their future together. My house. The house I'd lived in for 30 years. The house I'd paid for with overtime shifts and weekend work. Crystal wanted Tyler to sell it to pay off her shopping addiction. That night, I couldn't sleep. But along with feeling betrayed, something else grew inside me, a cold determination to protect what I'd worked for my whole life. The next day, I started my own investigation. I called my old union buddy Rex Coleman, who'd become a lawyer after he retired from the plant. Yeah, I asked him to look into all of Crystal's financial activities. What we discovered was even worse. She wasn't just a compulsive spender. She'd been lying about her job, too. Her important career at the boutique was part-time minimum wage. But she'd been telling Tyler she made 3 times that amount. And there was more. Crystal had been telling her family that we were much wealthier than we actually were. She told them Tyler had a thriving business, that I had a fortune saved up, that our house was worth twice what it really was. All lies to make herself look successful. Now, sitting in my kitchen watching Crystal panic, I smiled for the first time in months. Because I'd taken steps she couldn't imagine. First, I'd moved all my savings to a new account at a different bank, an account Tyler didn't know about and would never have access to. Then Rex helped me with legal paperwork to make sure no one could force me to sell my house or use it as collateral ever again. But my masterstroke was contacting Crystal's family directly. Not all of them, just the ones who mattered. Her uncle Victor, who owned a chain of restaurants in Miami. Her brother-in-law Mason, the real estate guy who was supposed to help Tyler's business. Her sister Whitney, who worked at a bank and had a reputation for being straight as an arrow. I sent them polite emails, introducing myself as Crystal's concerned father-in-law. I said I was worried about the young couple's financial situation and wanted advice on how to help. Of course, I accidentally attached some of the most shocking bank statements I'd found. The responses came fast. Victor was furious about being lied to. Mason immediately canceled any plans to help Tyler financially. Whitney was so angry she threatened to come personally to straighten out her sister. But the best part? None of them had said anything to Crystal yet. They were waiting for Christmas to confront her in person. A Christmas gathering that would be missing the host they expected, the food they were promised, and the perfect family image Crystal had been selling them. Just then, I heard keys at the front door. Tyler was home from work. Crystal ran to him like a kid tattling to daddy. Tyler, your father has lost his mind. He says he won't help with Christmas. He says he's going on vacation and leaving us with my entire family. I could hear their voices from the living room, Crystal talking fast and dramatic, Tyler giving confused responses. After a few minutes, they both came into the kitchen. Tyler looked tired and annoyed. Dad, Crystal told me about your decision. Don't you think you're being a little dramatic? Dramatic. My own son calling me dramatic for refusing to be his wife's servant. No, Tyler, I'm being clear. But Dad, it's Christmas. It's family time. Crystal already invited everyone. We can't cancel now. I didn't say cancel. I said I won't be here. Crystal stepped between us like she was protecting Tyler from me. See what I mean? He's being completely unreasonable. What will my family think? Tell them the truth, I said calmly. That you assumed I'd be your free labor without asking, and you were wrong. Tyler sighed and ran his hand through his hair. Dad, be reasonable. You know Crystal can't cook for 25 people by herself. Why not? I've been cooking for her parties for years, time she learned. But I work, Crystal protested. I can't take days off to cook. My career is important. Her career. A part-time job at a dress shop that barely paid her gas money. Then hire a caterer, I suggested with a smile. Catering costs thousands, Tyler said. Why spend that when you can just... He stopped, realizing what he was about to say. When I can do it for free, I finished. Like always. Like the employee you think I am. The quiet stretch between us. I could see them trying to figure out how to manipulate me back into line. Look, Dad, Tyler finally said, trying a softer approach. I know you've been feeling a little sensitive lately. Maybe it's just retirement adjustment or something. Retirement adjustment. He was making me sound like I was having some kind of breakdown instead of finally standing up for myself. There's nothing wrong with my adjustment, Tyler. This is about respect. For 5 years, neither you nor your wife has shown me any. That's not... Tyler came closer and put his hand on my shoulder. I'm sorry, he said. I'm not sure what you mean. Tyler came closer and put his hand on my shoulder, like he used to when he was a boy and wanted something. But he wasn't that sweet kid anymore. He was a man who'd let his wife walk all over his father for 5 years. Come on, Dad. I understand you're upset, but think about it. It's just 1 week. After Christmas, everything goes back to normal. Normal. They're normal where I was invisible except when they needed something. No, Tyler. Things aren't going back to normal because I'm leaving tomorrow. They both froze. Tomorrow? Crystal's voice went up an octave. You can't leave tomorrow. My family gets here in 3 days. You should have thought of that before taking me for granted. This is insane, Crystal shrieked. You can't do this to me. I already told everyone. My uncle Victor flew in from Miami. Whitney canceled important meetings. Mason took time off work. Those are their problems, not mine. I watched desperation replace the anger on Crystal's face. Her hands were shaking as she gripped the counter. Carl, Her voice suddenly got sweet and manipulative. You know I've always thought of you as a second father. You're so important to me, to us. You can't abandon us. There it was. The switch to emotional manipulation. I'd seen this show before. If you thought of me as a father, you wouldn't treat me like hired help. But I don't treat you like hired help. I just thought you enjoyed taking care of the family. Enjoyed. Like scrubbing their messes and cooking their meals while they took all the credit was my hobby. You know what, Crystal? You're right. I do enjoy taking care of family. That's why I'm going to take care of myself for once. Tyler jumped back in, his frustration showing. Dad, this isn't fair. You know we don't have money for catering. The deposit on our new apartment wiped out our savings. New apartment. This was news to me. What new apartment? They looked at each other like kids caught stealing cookies. Well, Tyler said, looking at his shoes. We were going to tell you after the holidays. We found this great place downtown. 3 bedrooms, ocean view, gym in the building. Sounds expensive. It is, but it's worth it. And don't worry, we're not moving far. Only 30 minutes from here. 30 minutes. Close enough to keep using my house as their personal restaurant. Far enough to have their privacy. And how exactly are you paying for it? Crystal's face lit up like she'd found the answer to all our problems. That's why this Christmas is so important. My Uncle Victor is very generous when he's impressed. And Mason has connections that could help Tyler's business. If everything goes perfectly, they might help us financially. There it was. The real reason for the big Christmas show. Not family or tradition, money. She needed to impress her rich relatives to get financial help. And I was supposed to be the stagehand making it all look good. I see, I said. So, you need your Christmas to be perfect to impress the wealthy family. Exactly, Crystal said, relieved that I finally understood. I knew you'd get it. You always know what's right. What's right? For 5 years, doing what was right meant sacrificing my comfort and dignity to make their lives easier. You're absolutely right, Crystal. I know exactly what's right. That's why I'm still leaving tomorrow. The hope died on their faces. You can't do this, Crystal said, breathing fast like she was having a panic attack. You can't ruin our future over hurt feelings. I'm not ruining anything. You created this situation by never learning to take care of yourselves. Tyler stepped closer, desperation clear in his voice. Dad, please. If you really need a vacation, we can postpone it until after New Year's. We'll pay for the whole trip. Hotel, everything. They'd pay for my trip? With what money? They just said the apartment deposit wiped them out. The offer's nice, Tyler, but my decision's made. This is emotional blackmail, Crystal burst out, her fake sweetness finally cracking. You're manipulating us. Emotional blackmail. The words hung in the air like an accusation that backfired. Because if refusing to be their free employee was emotional blackmail, what had they been doing to me for 5 years? You want to know what emotional blackmail is, Crystal? It's making me feel guilty every time I don't want to cook for your friends. It's telling me a good father-in-law always puts family first when I refuse to clean up after your parties. It's assuming my retirement doesn't matter because I should be grateful to serve you. Every word hit its target. I could see them both flinch because they knew it was all true. That's not the same thing, Crystal stammered, but her voice had lost all its power. You're right, it's not the same. What you've done is worse. That night, while Crystal and Tyler argued in desperate whispers downstairs, I locked myself in my room and opened my laptop. Time for phase 2 of my plan. My phone started buzzing with text messages. The first was from Victor. Mr. Carl, after reviewing the documents you sent, my family decided to arrive a day early. We want to speak with Crystal about important matters before the celebration. Can you receive us tomorrow morning around 8 a.m.? Perfect. They'd arrive right when Crystal and Tyler would be panicking about the empty house and no food. I texted back, "Of course, Victor. Though I should mention I'll be leaving for my trip that same morning, so Crystal and Tyler will be your hosts." His response came immediately. "Perfect. That's exactly what we need." I smiled in the dark. Crystal thought she was so clever, so manipulative, but she'd underestimated the old man who'd been watching her games for 5 years. She assumed my age and quiet nature meant I was helpless. Tomorrow morning, she'd discover just how wrong she was. At 6 a.m., my alarm went off like the sound of freedom. I showered, got dressed, and started packing. Every item I put in my suitcase was another step toward getting my life back. Crystal and Tyler were still asleep when I carried my bags downstairs. I left a note on the kitchen table next to the house keys. Decided to leave early for my trip. The house is yours. Enjoy your perfect Christmas. Carl. What the note didn't mention was that I'd made a few preparations, like emptying the refrigerator and pantry completely. If they were hosting 25 people, they needed to learn responsibility meant buying food. I'd also locked away all my good dishes, tablecloths, and Christmas decorations in my bedroom. If they wanted to impress the rich relatives, they could get their own supplies. And I'd canceled the weekly cleaning service that I paid for, but Crystal always took credit for. The taxi arrived at 7 a.m. sharp. As we drove away, took one last look at the house I'd lived in for 30 years. A house that had been my sanctuary, then my prison, and would soon be my fortress again. The hotel I'd booked was everything I'd dreamed of during my years of forced domestic service. A suite with an ocean view, room service, and most importantly, complete quiet. My phone started ringing at 10:47 a.m. Tyler, of course. "Dad, where are you? We found your note, but why did you leave so early?" His voice sounded confused and panicked. He'd probably just discovered the empty kitchen. "Good morning, Tyler. I decided there was no point delaying the inevitable. You two have a lot of work ahead of you. But, Dad, this is so sudden. Crystal is, well, she's pretty upset. Upset. A diplomatic way to say she was having a complete meltdown. I'm sure she'll figure it out. After all, she's very capable. Could you at least tell us where you bought the food before? What you used to cook for holidays?" "Tyler, I didn't just buy food. I planned for weeks. I researched recipes, made lists, compared prices, and spent days preparing. It wasn't magic, it was work." The quiet told me he was finally understanding what he'd ignored for years. "Dad, please," he finally said, his voice smaller. "I know we've been inconsiderate, but what do I do with 25 people showing up in a few hours? What every responsible adult does when they have guests. Figure it out." I could hear voices in the background, angry, demanding voices. "Dad, Crystal's uncle wants to talk to you. He's confused about what's happening. Tell him Crystal can explain everything. She organized this gathering after all. Please, just 5 minutes with him. He's really upset. Tyler, listen carefully. For 5 years, every time you needed something, I was there. Every time Crystal wanted to impress someone, I did the work. Today, for the first time in half a decade, you get to solve your own problems." I hung up and turned off the phone. It was time for the final act. By evening, I was curious enough to drive by the house. The scene was better than I'd hoped. Several cars parked haphazardly, grocery bags scattered on the porch, and through the windows I could see people gesturing angrily. My phone had 23 missed calls and dozens of text messages when I finally turned it back on. The message I was waiting for came from Whitney. "Mr. Carl, we just discovered some very disturbing information about Crystal's finances. Could you call me? We need to understand what's been happening in this family." I called immediately. "Mr. Carl," Whitney's voice was tight with anger. "I've been reviewing Crystal's financial situation. It's worse than we thought. She's been using Tyler's identity to open credit accounts he doesn't know about. This could be fraud. Does Tyler know? We told him an hour ago. He's in shock. Keeps saying it must be a misunderstanding." Whitney paused. "There's something else? Crystal told our family that you were planning to make her the main beneficiary of your will. She used that story to borrow over $20,000 from relatives. The betrayal was even deeper than I'd imagined. Whitney, I can assure you that's completely false. Crystal is not in my will at all," I figured. "But she used that lie to get money from family members who trusted her. How is Crystal handling all this?" Whitney laughed bitterly. "She's in complete denial. Keeps insisting you're being vindictive because you felt left out of Christmas. Oh, and the celebration? Crystal ordered pizza for 25 people because she couldn't figure out how to cook anything else. We ate off paper towels because she couldn't find proper dishes. Pizza for 25. The irony was perfect. What happens now? Some of us are leaving tomorrow. This isn't the family reunion we expected, but a few of us are staying to make sure Crystal understands there will be consequences. All family loans are being called in immediately. Any financial support for Tyler's business is gone. It was exactly the justice I'd hoped for. The morning of December 24th, I packed my bags and prepared to go home. Before leaving the hotel, I called Rex Coleman. Rex, are all the documents ready? Everything's notarized and filed, Carl. The house deed changes, the will amendments, the new residency agreements. You're protected. Perfect. Meet me at the house in an hour. When I walked through my front door at 10 a.m., the house went quiet. Dad? Tyler's voice was incredulous. I'm back. He appeared first, looking like he hadn't slept in days. Behind him came Crystal, a version I'd never seen. No makeup, wrinkled clothes, eyes red from crying. Then came the remaining family members. Victor, stern and disappointed. Whitney holding a folder of documents, Mason and a few others, all looking uncomfortable. Mr. Carl, Victor said, extending his hand respectfully. We owe you an apology. Crystal has been lying to us for years. No apology needed, Victor. Sometimes the truth needs to come out, dramatically. The doorbell rang. Rex Coleman, right on time. Rex, thanks for coming. I think we're ready for that conversation we've been planning. Crystal grew even paler. Why is there a lawyer here? Because after 5 years of being taken advantage of, I need legal protection, I said calmly. Rex opened his briefcase. I'm here to formalize some changes Mr. Thompson has made to protect his interests. First, the house. It's now in a trust that prevents anyone from using it as collateral or forcing a sale, even after Mr. Thompson's death. Crystal started crying quietly. Second, Rex continued, new residency terms. Crystal no longer has unlimited access to this property. Any visits must be arranged in advance and approved by Mr. Thompson. What does that mean exactly? Tyler asked. It means your wife can't walk into my house whenever she pleases, give orders, or assume I'll be her personal servant. Tyler hung his head, finally seeing 5 years of willful blindness clearly. Victor approached Crystal, his voice heavy with disappointment. Crystal, our family gave you trust and support based on lies. You made us unknowing accomplices in disrespecting a man who deserved our admiration. Crystal had no answer. There's one more thing, I continued, looking directly at her. You'll pay back every penny you borrowed using lies about my supposed inheritance. You'll apologize to every family member you deceived, and you'll learn to live within your actual means. I addressed everyone in the room. For 5 years, I sacrificed my dignity, thinking I was keeping the family together. But I learned something important. A family built on disrespect isn't a family at all. I looked at Tyler specifically. Son, you need to decide what kind of man you want to be. One who lets his wife abuse his father, or one who stands up for what's right. Finally, I looked at Crystal. And you need to decide if you want to grow up and face consequences like an adult, or keep acting like a child who expects others to solve her problems. The clock on my mantle chimed noon on Christmas Eve. Now, I said with a smile I'd been saving for months, anyone who wants to stay for a Christmas based on honesty and respect is welcome. Those who prefer to keep living in fantasies can leave. For the first time in 5 years, I was completely in control of my house, my life, and my future. Tyler finally stood up to Crystal that day, and she learned what real consequences felt like. As for me, well, let's just say retirement got a whole lot more peaceful once I stopped being everyone else's solution to their problems. Sometimes the people who take advantage of your kindness will only learn respect when you stop giving it for free. The strongest thing a man can do isn't always fighting back. Sometimes it's simply walking away and letting people face the mess they've made.